Hey, this is Ty Brown with DogBehaviorOnline.com, and I'm coming to you today with a question of one of the readers of our website. Got a little bit of help with me today. Hopefully she'll be answering some of the questions. So, the question is, I do have one question I really need help with. I just finished watching the part on the video about socializing my dog, and I thought that just maybe you can help me with this problem. My puppy is a potcake, 5 months old, and was born in Freeport, Bahamas. I don't know if it was a trip to Georgia by plane or some other reason, but my puppy gets sick every time he goes for a ride in the car. The major drooling starts first, and by the time he has a Santa beard of drool, he throws up. The last trip I gave him Dramamine, and he didn't throw up on the way back, but the back of my car was soaking wet. I just retired, and I had visions of traveling with him. I want to go to PetSmart and take him with me to socialize him, but it is so traumatic for him. I've sat in the back with him and given him treats or played with him without driving, and it's like Pavlov's dog. He drools and his ears lower. Is there anything you can suggest that I do to help him? In the past, taking my dogs with me around town has helped strengthen our bond, and that is what I envision this time. Never thought about a dog that hates the car. Please help. Okay, so as far as your thought process goes and your state of mind, you're on the right track. I mean, you see the problem and you're like, okay, let me help desensitize him by just bringing him in the back seat and giving him some treats. And so that style of thinking is the right track. There's a couple things I think I can help you with, a couple tips that hopefully make it a little bit more meaningful. But let me start off by saying it could have been the plane. You're right. I've seen that happen where it's the plane. It could just be, a genetic issue where the dog is more prone to being fearful of moving vehicles. In fact, a lot of really, some of the top breeders, people who really know what they're doing as far as breeding their dogs, won't breed dogs that get car sick because they see it as a genetic, fault in the dog. Nothing that's going to happen in the show ring, but that the dog doesn't have the strength of nervous system that they're looking for. And so, like I say, it could be the dog's nervous system. It could be just association that the dog has had. And really, either way, at this point, it doesn't matter because the solution, no matter where the fear comes from, is going to be the same. So let me give you a couple ideas, a couple things you want to focus on. Really, the idea I want to get in your head is what I call bite-sized chunks. And when I talk about training, I call oftentimes as dog owners, we as people can see many steps in our head, like that. There's not really a problem. It's not very hard. For example, if I tell you right now to go get your something out of the glove box in your car, your mind just puts it together like that. I mean, it's very easy for your mind to do that. But if you look at it from a step-by-step basis, first you have to stand up, then you have to go over here, then you have to turn around the corner, then you have to go down the stairs, then you have to turn the corner again, then you have to open the door, then you have to go out the door, then you have to go down. And so in reality, A to B type movements, there's like 15 steps for you to do that. And so as people, we think on those terms, whereas dogs think 1 or 2 steps. And so, if I wanted to train my dog how to go get something out of the glove box of the car, first it's teaching him how to get up and move 5 feet. Then I got to, and a tons of repetition there. And then I got to teach him to go around the corner, tons of repetition, and so it's a much longer process to teach a concept to a dog because these multi-step, more complicated things aren't as easy for the dog to see. So that's where I say that your mind was in the right place. Let me put the dog in the back seat and just sit there with cookies. But there's even steps before that you need to focus on. So let me see. I wrote down some notes here. One of the first things I'd recommend is everything car related. Do it obedience related as well. And so when you go out to the car, don't just like have him off leash. Come on, buddy, let's go out to the car. No, it really needs to be. He's on leash. He waits at the door. He goes out with you. He heels next to your side. He sits before he gets in the vehicle. Everything obedience related because dogs have very much one-track minds. And so if if the dog is focusing on the car, it doesn't leave room to focus on you. And vice versa, if the dog's focusing on you, it doesn't leave a lot of room to focus on the car. So we want the more focus on you, obviously. And so a lot of obedience there. Another thing I'd recommend is I call it the car game. I do this a lot with the crate, and in some of my videos I talk about the crate game. And when I say the crate game, what I mean is, a lot of dogs have issues with the crate. They're nervous by the crate. They don't want to go in the crate. They're afraid of the crate, whatever. And so to kind of desensitize that feeling, what I do with the crate is, I throw a treat in, let the dog get it, and come right back out. Because what happens is a lot of dogs, they go in the crate and then they're in there for hours, and so they start to associate all these feelings of nervousness with just the act of going in. And so what I want to do is I want to desensitize that going in and take all, kill that stress related with going in. So, going back to the crate, what we do is we go in, we go out, we go in, we go out, we go in, we go out. And so, as the dog gets the hang of it, he's not worried about going in. I might shut the door, for 10 seconds. Then he comes out, and we go in and go out, and go, and I gradually build it to where he can go in for longer periods of time. And so the idea here is I want to desensitize that trigger. The trigger of him. In a second, I'm going to talk about an even earlier trigger, but I want to desensitize that car trigger that says, you get in the car, this is stressful. Because his brain, as he's getting in that car, is associating all that stress, and so it's like, it's front-loaded with, the act of getting in the car is front-loaded with all this stress. And so, again, we want to desensitize that stress by in and out, make it easy for him. And so it's what happens, like I say, with the crate is, let's say the dog goes in the crate 15 times a day, but he only stays in there once or twice. Well, the act of going in starts to become less and less meaningful and less stressful for him. And now, like I say, I also want you to look at previous triggers and start to desensitize those as well. So even before getting in the car. So for example, when you take your dog in the car, you've got a process. It might not be exactly the same every time, but it's probably close enough to where your dog realizes it. And it's probably put on your shoes, grab your keys, grab the leash, put the dog, it's probably these things. And so what you want to do is you want to desensitize even those, what I call exit triggers. We're exiting the house, we're getting in the car, desensitize those triggers. So what I mean is do the exact triggers. Put on your shoes, grab your keys, grab the leash, go out the door, go to the car, and then come back in the house, and do it again. And then tomorrow do it, once or twice or 5 times or 10 times or whatever. And, keep doing this with the idea that we're showing the dog, essentially we're throwing the dog in this little stress cauldron and saying, oh no, we're going into the car. I mean, of course you're not doing that, but in his mind, oh no, we're going to the car. Oh no, we're not. Okay. Oh no, we're going to the car. Oh, no, we're not. Okay, we're good. And so what starts to happen here is these triggers that started telling your dog, or that right now tell your dog, time to get stressed out because we're going for a ride, we start desensitizing those triggers. And then, like I say, we get to the car, we desensitize that trigger of getting in. And so we need to desensitize exit triggers, desensitize car triggers, and then what we need to do is get to what you were doing, to where now we're in the car and we give him some treats and hang out, and then we'll get out of the car. And then we get in the car, give him some treats, turn on the car, but stay in the driveway for 2 minutes. And then we pull out of the driveway. And then the next time we do it, we drive around the block. And so, like I say, you were on the right path in your idea of desensitization. You just need to go back further in your step, in your thought process. The other thing that I do is, in the meantime, you might have to take your dog to the vet, or the dog might need to go somewhere, and you haven't got him through all of this. Just logistically, I try to make sure that I've noticed, I'll fast the dog that meal. I won't have the dog eat that meal, and then we'll go to the vet or something like that. So if he does throw up, there's a lot less for him to throw up. And then lastly, I did want to talk about medicine. I'm not against medicine. I do try to avoid medicine if I can. And the reason why medicine is only typically in these cases somewhat effective is because what your dog has is a psychological problem. That manifests itself in a physical way. And so the medicine only treats the physical part. So let's say the medicine is counteracting the acid or whatever. I don't even know what Dramamine does, but let's say it's counteracting the acid or whatever that physically causes the dog to be sick. Well, it's doing nothing about the psychological part that tells the dog, oh no, you're in trouble because you're in a car. And so like I say, I'm not against medicine because it could be an aid, it could be an help, but medicine I've found over the years, whether it's separation anxiety, anxiety about the car, any sort of aggression issues or whatever, any medicine that I've ever used is so much more like the effects are amplified if there's training that go along with it. And so anyways, like I say, I'm not encouraging you to not use medicine. I'm just telling you that medicine, like you found, it did keep him from throwing up, but psychologically he was still messed up about being in the car. So just as a review here, obedience is key. Keep the focus on you. Desensitize car triggers. Desensitize your exit triggers. Look at, plan your meal times and experiment with the medication and see if the medication is right for your dog and if it helps. So, best of luck to you. Hope that helps. And time to time to get to work training your dog.